On a wonderful day in July of 1967, Ursula and I were about to board the FLAVIA, an Italian one-class liner bound for New Zealand. Together with about 1,200 other passengers, we had come to Rotterdam to begin our journey to the other side of the world, to begin a new life far away from home and all our loved ones. This was a huge call, but we were young and full of anticipation of what the future had in store for us. My parents had arrived the day before to farewell us on our long journey to New Zealand. For more than 5 weeks, the FLAVIA was about to become our home and honeymoon voyage. We knew very little about our country of destination, other than being aware of that they had a lot of sheep and cattle and high mountains like Switzerland. Everything else was to be explored by us after our arrival there. After our departure from Rotterdam, we first sailed north to Bremerhaven in Germany. From there we crossed the Channel, and by the evening of the second day we arrived in Southampton. There, sitting at the pier, was the old P&O liner, the Queen Mary. What a majestic old ship that was. Amongst all the many passengers, there was a small group of Swiss compatriots. There was the Kellers from Basel with their baby, the Clauses from Argovie, and a young man from St. Gallen, who was a lady's hairstylist. We reached the Canal zone more than a week later. Once there, we had to wait a long time before we could enter the first lock. It was unbearably hot and muggy and gave us the first impression of the tropics. More than 9 hours were needed to overcome the height difference and passage to the canal. But we arrived before nightfall in Bilbao, on the Pacific side of the American continent. The following morning we were allowed to go ashore, and we first strolled through the magnificent city. Later we hired a limousine which brought us to an old city that was ruined by pirates some centuries ago. It was hot, a real scorcher of a day, and upon returning in the comfort of the huge Cadillac, we really enjoyed the ride with all its comfort. What a bustling city that Bilbao is. We were able to taste the food and drinks of the region. It was absolutely delicious. Once back on board, we were glad to be able to stretch our legs in the coolness of our cabin, and slept rather long and well that night. Before long we were on the longest stretch of our voyage, namely the leg from America to Tahiti, across the vastness of the Pacific Ocean, which took us more than a fortnight to reach. After we had passed the Galapagos some 2 days later, we saw nothing but water and sky, which seemed to merge on the faraway horizon, day after day. Within a few more days we crossed the equator, and it was there where the crew of the FLAVIA had something really special in store for us. Our steward had warned us not to go too close to the action during the celebrations, so we stayed well clear of the unfolding mess on deck. What we saw was quite a rough display in honor of King Neptune, and the ritual went on well into the afternoon. About a week later, one early morning, we were woken up by the ship's siren. Looking out of the window, we saw the most glorious daybreak, and in the near distance, the harbour of Papeete on Tahiti. There were not many people who stayed back on board when we were able to go on land after such a long stretch at sea. The FLAVIA remained a full 24 hours in Papeete to replenish the larder with fresh food and water, etc. Papeete is not a very big place. On top of it, we could hardly get lost, since the huge chimney of our ship was visible from almost everywhere we went. In the afternoon, we were taken to a holiday resort on the far side of the island, and it was there where we enjoyed a most wonderful swim in the lagoon. The water was so warm and clear, one could have read a newspaper some distance down. I tell you what, we were really tempted to leave the FLAVIA right then and there and stay behind, really. To round off the perfect day, we then watched a hula group that performed especially for us that same evening. Their hot rhythm really did it and went straight under our skin. The following morning we found ourselves back at sea, passing some of the other islands in the region. Not long after we left Tahiti, the weather changed and it became cooler and cooler. We were about a week away from our destination, New Zealand, and we were heading straight into their winter. Our swim gear, bikinis and the like had disappeared. Warm coats and scarves had replaced them, and as the sea got more temptatious, one started to see spaghetti and other food in places where you would not expect them to be found. Slowly but surely our long journey was coming to an end. It also started to dawn on many a soul on board of the enormity the situation we found ourselves in by the decision we had made to emigrate to this far away and fast approaching foreign land. And then it was there, land ahoy, New Zealand in sight. We sailed along the coast of Great Barrier Island on a cold but sunny afternoon. There was one more ball on board, and as always on an occasion like this, our friend the Figaro had offered to do Ursula's hair, as on many other occasions before. This was the fashion of the day, and quite a job to get it right. Of how we started and began our new life on the other side of the world is a totally other matter, and I will tell you all about on another occasion. It was different to what we were accustomed to, but totally liberating as well. We loved it, and we still do. 50 years on, we are still here and enjoy it as much as on the first day.